You have probably seen the videos. Drink apple cider vinegar before bed. Do it every night. Watch what happens. And maybe you tried it. Or maybe you have been curious about it, but never quite sure if it was actually worth doing, or if the timing even mattered, or whether the whole thing was just another wellness trend with more hype than substance behind it. Well, today we are going to settle this completely, because the question is not just whether apple cider vinegar works. The science on that is actually quite compelling. The real question is when you should take it, how much you should take, and what specific benefit you are actually trying to get. And the answer to all of those questions depends entirely on understanding what apple cider vinegar is actually doing inside your body. Stay with me through this entire video, because by the end, you are going to have a complete, clear picture of exactly how to use apple cider vinegar in a way that is tailored specifically to your own health goals. And there is one timing mistake that almost everybody makes. We will get to that too. Let's start at the beginning. The very first thing apple cider vinegar does inside your body, and this is the foundation that everything else builds on, is support your digestion. And to understand why, you need to understand something about the chemistry involved. Apple cider vinegar is an acid. It has a pH of roughly 2.5 to 3. Now that sounds quite acidic, and it is. But here is something most people do not realize. Your stomach's own hydrochloric acid has a pH of between 1 and 2. And because pH works on an exponential scale, that difference means hydrochloric acid is somewhere between 30 and 100 times stronger than apple cider vinegar. So apple cider vinegar does not actually digest your food directly. It is not strong enough to do that on its own. What it does, and this is where it becomes genuinely remarkable, is act as a trigger, a primer, a jump start for your entire digestive cascade. Here is exactly what happens. When apple cider vinegar enters your stomach, it stimulates specialized cells in the stomach lining called parietal cells. These are the cells responsible for producing your body's own hydrochloric acid. Apple cider vinegar signals them to get to work. As hydrochloric acid production increases, an enzyme called pepsin is released, and pepsin begins the critical process of breaking down the proteins in your food. That is the first step. Then the signal travels further. Your gallbladder is stimulated to release bile, which begins breaking down dietary fat. Your pancreas is triggered to release its full suite of digestive enzymes, proteases to continue breaking down proteins into individual amino acids, lipases to complete the fat breakdown that bile started, and amylase to handle carbohydrates. One simple trigger from apple cider vinegar sets off this entire beautiful sequence. And the reason this matters so much is that millions of people are walking around with a condition called hypochlorhydria, which simply means they are not producing enough stomach acid on their own. And the consequences of that are far more serious than most people ever realize. When you do not have enough stomach acid, your digestion breaks down at the very first step. And when the first step is compromised, everything that follows is compromised too. The proteins in your food do not get properly broken down. The minerals in your meals, iron, calcium, magnesium, do not get properly absorbed. You end up malnourished even while eating a perfectly nutritious diet, simply because your body cannot extract what it needs. And you will feel it: bloating, heaviness after meals, persistent indigestion, nutrient deficiencies that your doctor cannot quite explain. Here is the one that really surprises people: acid reflux. Most people assume acid reflux means they have too much stomach acid. That feels logical. There is burning, there is discomfort. It must be an excess of acid, right? Wrong. In the vast majority of cases, acid reflux is actually caused by too little stomach acid. When food is not broken down properly in the stomach, it sits there. It ferments. It creates gas and pressure, and that pressure pushes incompletely digested food back up into the esophagus. The burning you feel is not from an overflow of acid. It is from acid-contaminated material going somewhere it should not be. Apple cider vinegar, by stimulating proper acid production and initiating efficient digestion, can address the actual root cause rather than just masking the symptom. Now let's talk about blood sugar, because this is where apple cider vinegar's benefits become truly life-changing for a very large number of people. The active compound in apple cider vinegar is called acetic acid. And acetic acid does something remarkable when it comes to how your body processes carbohydrates. It slows gastric emptying, the rate at which food moves from your stomach into your small intestine. This slowdown means that carbohydrates are absorbed more gradually, which means glucose enters your bloodstream at a steadier, more manageable rate instead of flooding in all at once and triggering those dramatic blood sugar spikes. Research has found that taking apple cider vinegar with or before a meal can improve insulin sensitivity by up to 34%. 34% is not a small number. That is a significant, meaningful improvement. And the effect was found to be even greater in people who already had insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. If blood sugar management is a concern for you, this is one of the most important pieces of information in this entire video. Here is another benefit that does not get nearly enough attention. Apple cider vinegar can actively stimulate fat burning, and the mechanism behind this is genuinely fascinating. Acetic acid increases the activity of an enzyme called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. To understand why this matters, you need to understand a little bit about how your body manages energy. Your body's primary energy currency is a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Think of it as a fully loaded spring, storing energy that your cells can release and use. When energy levels drop, ATP breaks down into ADP and eventually into AMP, adenosine monophosphate. The lowest energy state, AMPK, is your body's energy sensor. It continuously monitors the ratio between AMP and ATP. When it detects that AMP is relatively high and ATP is relatively low, it recognizes a low energy state and responds by activating processes that generate more energy. Apple cider vinegar shifts this ratio slightly, nudging AMPK into action, which increases fat burning as an energy source and simultaneously reduces fat storage. On top of that, acetic acid increases levels of a hormone called GLP-1, which is a satiety hormone. When GLP-1 is elevated, you feel fuller more easily and your appetite naturally decreases. Less hunger, more fat burning, better blood sugar control, all from the same compound. And there is one more major benefit worth understanding before we talk about timing. Apple cider vinegar is genuinely powerful for your gut health. Acetic acid is actually a short-chain fatty acid, the same type of compound produced naturally by beneficial gut bacteria. Some strains of gut bacteria produce acetic acid, and other beneficial strains consume it. So when you drink apple cider vinegar, you are essentially providing a prebiotic, a food source, for your beneficial gut bacteria, helping them thrive and multiply. The organic acids in apple cider vinegar also stimulate beneficial bacterial strains while actively inhibiting harmful ones, helping to rebalance the gut microbiome from both directions at once. And if you choose an organic, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with that cloudy sediment at the bottom that people call the mother, you are getting an additional bonus. That cloudiness contains live enzymes and probiotic bacteria that add another layer of gut support on top of everything else. Now you understand what apple cider vinegar can actually do. So let's talk about the question that matters most. When should you take it? The answer is this: the best time for you depends entirely on what you are trying to accomplish. Let's go through each timing option clearly so you can identify what fits your situation best. If you take apple cider vinegar first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, here is what happens. You prime your entire digestive system for the meals ahead, even if you will not eat for several hours. You initiate a gentle cleanup and detox process, helping your body clear undigested residue from the previous day. You support your gut microbiome, and you kickstart your AMPK activity, which gets your fat burning and your metabolism moving earlier in the day. There is also an interesting systemic effect. When you stimulate pancreatic enzymes on an empty stomach, some of those enzymes enter your general circulation and begin a mild systemic cleanup of various proteins and cellular debris throughout the body. The morning dose is 1 tablespoon, approximately 15 milliliters, diluted in at least 8 to 16 ounces of water. The dilution is not optional, it is important. It protects your esophagus, your stomach lining, and your tooth enamel from unnecessary acid exposure. If you take apple cider vinegar before a meal, allow at least 15 to 20 minutes, and ideally 30 minutes, before you start eating. This gives your body time to absorb the liquid fully so it does not interfere with your digestive process. At this timing, you will get the full benefit of enhanced digestion. You will break down your food more thoroughly at every stage of the process. You will absorb significantly more nutrition from what you eat. You will reduce the likelihood of acid reflux, and you will dramatically blunt the blood sugar spike that would otherwise follow your meal. For a lower carbohydrate meal, 1 tablespoon diluted in 8 to 16 ounces of water is appropriate. For a higher carbohydrate meal where blood sugar control is a priority, you can increase to 2 tablespoons, but this is critical. You must also double the water accordingly, bringing it to 16 to 32 ounces to maintain safe dilution levels. Do not take a higher dose of apple cider vinegar without also increasing the water. That is where people run into irritation problems. Now let's talk about taking apple cider vinegar before bed, which is what so many videos recommend and what brings so many people to this topic in the first place. Taking apple cider vinegar in the evening primarily supports 2 things: gut health and overnight blood sugar control. And that second benefit is particularly valuable for a specific group of people. If you are insulin resistant or diabetic, you may already know the frustrating experience of waking up with surprisingly high blood sugar levels, a phenomenon caused by the liver releasing glucose during the night. Taking apple cider vinegar in the evening can help moderate this process, working on your blood sugar regulation throughout the night while you sleep. However, and this is an important however, if you tend toward hypoglycemia, meaning your blood sugar drops too low, taking apple cider vinegar before bed could potentially worsen that. Low blood sugar during the night can cause poor sleep quality, restlessness, and unpleasant symptoms. If that sounds like you, the evening timing is not your best option. For everyone else, the evening dose is smaller than the daytime dose. Use 1 teaspoon, approximately 5 milliliters, rather than a full tablespoon. Your digestive system is winding down for the night, you are likely lying down soon, and a smaller amount is both sufficient and less likely to cause any digestive irritation. If you are concerned about reflux, take it earlier in the evening rather than right before lying down. If your last meal is at 6 and you go to bed at 10, taking your apple cider vinegar at 8 or 9 is perfectly fine. The benefits will still be fully present. And after any evening dose, rinse your mouth with water immediately. Then wait 30 minutes before brushing your teeth because the acidity temporarily softens tooth enamel and you do not want to combine that with the abrasion of brushing. Now, a very important note on overall dosage, because more is absolutely not better here. The combined total across all your daily doses should not exceed 6 tablespoons or 90 milliliters per day. If you take 1 tablespoon in the morning, 1 tablespoon before each of 2 meals, and 1 teaspoon in the evening, your total comes to approximately 3 1/3 tablespoons, well within a safe and effective range. Do not be tempted to exceed this. There is a documented case of a woman who consumed approximately 250 milliliters of apple cider vinegar daily, that is over 17 tablespoons, every day for 6 years. By the end of that period, she had developed severe potassium deficiency and significant bone loss. The therapeutic dose is the effective dose. More than that creates risk without additional benefit. The risks to be aware of at any dose, even appropriate ones, include gastrointestinal irritation if the acid is not sufficiently diluted. If you feel any discomfort, reduce your dose and increase your water. Always start with a teaspoon if you are new to this and work your way up gradually. There is also the tooth enamel consideration we already covered. Always dilute, consider using a straw, and rinse after every dose. And with very high doses over long periods, mineral imbalances, particularly involving potassium, calcium, and magnesium, can develop. Stay within the recommended range, and this is not a concern. One more practical point worth knowing. Apple cider vinegar is not the only source of acetic acid available to you. If you dress a salad with wine vinegar, you are already getting your acidity for that meal. If you eat chicken wings coated in hot sauce, which can be 30 to 50% vinegar by composition, 2 or 3 tablespoons of that sauce is already providing your full dose of acetic acid for the meal. No additional apple cider vinegar needed. And while apple cider vinegar, especially organic, unfiltered with the mother, is the preferred choice because of its additional enzymes and probiotic content, plain white distilled vinegar contains the exact same acetic acid and will deliver approximately 90% of the same benefits. If cost is a factor, a gallon of distilled white vinegar from any grocery store will give you the core benefits for almost nothing. If the flavor is your biggest obstacle, here is what works. Always dilute it well, at least 8 ounces of water per tablespoon. Squeeze in a little fresh lemon juice. Add a few drops of concentrated stevia to take the edge off the acidity without adding sugar. Sparkling water and a few ice cubes can transform the whole experience into something genuinely enjoyable. All of that is optional, but worth experimenting with if the taste has been keeping you from being consistent. So what is the best time for you? Look at everything we have covered and identify your primary goal. If it is digestion and metabolism, morning works beautifully. If it is blood sugar control and maximum nutrient absorption from your meals, before meals is your most powerful option. If it is gut health and overnight blood sugar regulation, evening is what you want, at a reduced dose, earlier rather than later. And if you want the full spectrum of benefits, you can do all 3. At the dosages described, you will still be well within the safe daily total. The most important thing is that you choose a timing that fits your life, your health goals, and that you can maintain consistently. Because consistency is always where the real results come from. If this video gave you clarity and real, usable information today, please hit the like button right now. It helps more people find this content when they need it. Share this with someone you know who has been curious about apple cider vinegar or who could genuinely benefit from what we covered. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss another video like this one. We are here to help you truly understand how your body works so you can make decisions that actually move your health forward. And drop a comment below. Tell us when you currently take your apple cider vinegar or which timing you are going to start with after watching this. We read every comment and we love hearing from you. Your health is worth understanding deeply, and understanding it is exactly what we are here for.